It certainly is the big story this Monday. The South African Policing Union saying that it'll be joining the Nehawu strike as it continues for a second week. The mass action will most likely affect services at the courts, hospitals and government offices. The unions are demanding a 10% salary hike while government is just offering 4.7%. Let's get you more on this. Bring in Peter Nsime, who is SAPU's second vice president, live to us via our video link this morning. It's lovely to see you, Peter. Thanks very much indeed for making time to speak to us. And, you know, aspects of the strike have come under fire, and I'm sure you're aware of all the commentary around whether or not there's a moral argument to be made for the ways through which at least some of the Nehawu workers are going about their strike. As a start, what aspects of this protest are you backing as SAPU as you prepare to join the industrial action?
Okay, good morning and thank you very much for having us. The fact of the matter is what Nehawu is fighting for is what we started as an organization that was Nehawu and other labor organizations in 2022-2023 wage negotiations. And we have lodged a dispute with regard to that matter. Nehawu have embarked on the strike. We are joining Nehawu, of course, because our members have given us a clear mandate that they want to withdraw their labor due to the fact that the employer have shown an arrogance at the highest level. He shows that he does not care about us, he does not care about the public of this country. You must understand that last year, when we lodged the dispute, we were very clear. We demonstrated in the country during November, December, and after that, we thought an employer will come on board. Up until now, employer is still showing us that it's not willing to engage with us. It is now the new year, and employer is telling us that they are not going to entertain 2022-2023. So that is why SAPU as an organization, our members are very clear that we must go on strike, we must withdraw our labor, and then of course under Public Service Act, members are very clear that there's nothing they can do because they've been cornered with regard to the 3% that has been imposed on us.
Are you also going to be withdrawing some of your essential services?
You see, the problem is in this country, people always talk about essential services, but there is not essential salary. You must be very clear that we have engaged employer with regard to the minimum service level agreement. The very same employer is not coming on board. We are a union that is very, very much clear about the issues in the country. Of course, in the police, there are Public Service Act personnel that can go on strike, and that is in terms of the law of this country. And essential services, our members will still go to work, those who have to provide these minimum services. The problem that we're having is that since the austerity measures implementation policy, we have seen employers who cut the budget of the police in particular. Every year, the budget is being cut, and no one is telling us about the essential services that when the crime is going up, you cannot cut the budget of the police. Our members are very clear that what is 3%, when life is becoming difficult for them, they're becoming poorer and poorer every year, and employer is not even willing to give 10%. Cost essential services is equivalent to essential salary. That is why our members say maybe employer will come on board. And we must also be very clear that there was also a facilitation process that took place over the weekend and in fact on Friday, on Saturday. Employer did not even want to entertain us because they want to tell us that we must move on. They are on 2022, 2023, 2024. We cannot discuss 2022, 2023, where a dispute was lodged. And this dispute is what brought us here. And that is why we are very clear to employer that they must think about the public of this country, the people of this country, not about them. The arrogance that is being displayed currently, they must not show it to us because they are showing it to the people of this country.
Yeah, you know, I think the general public will be sympathetic to your plight. We're all certainly feeling this crunch that comes with the cost of living crisis. But I'm sure you'll agree that there's something also to be said about ways through which innocent people sometimes get caught in the crossfire, right? And in some instances, those who are changing their views around the strike do so on the basis that they feel they are being weaponized in what's going on between government and unions. What's your response to that?
Yeah, look, firstly, let us understand one thing about the balancing in terms of the fund. Any country or everywhere in the world, firstly, you have to deal with the crime. If you can't deal with the crime, you're still going to have a problem. So where do you balance when you are crime? Every year we see the crime stats that have been released. How many people have been killed in this country? More than 60 people a day. It is madness. You cannot live in a country like that. The reason why the people have been killed is because the people in leadership have taken a stance that austerity measures. They will cut the budget of the police. They will cut the budget of all public, even in the hospitals. The problem that we see now, they want to turn us against the public in this country, because if you go to the hospitals, nurses are overstretched, are overworked. Because of the queue, people cannot take it anymore. When you go to the crime, the police, there's a problem in terms of the people. They are saying that the police are nowhere to be found. Why police are not there? Because of the vacancies are not filled. Employers have taken that stance that they are not going to fill the vacancies. We are having more and more of our members who have perished. And you must understand what happened. During 2019-2020, during COVID, when employer reneged from an assigned agreement, when our members were told that they are the frontline workers, our members were dying as a result of COVID. Everyone was behind closed doors when our members were on the front line. But employer decided to move away from a signed agreement. Where do you see something like that, where employers should at least have thought about this public servant to say you cannot talk about cutting the cost and the austerity measures when our members are dying on the street. Up until today, they are telling us about 3%. And the other important issue that we need to talk about is the issue of the attack on the bargaining council. The employer, this forum is established in terms of the law, but employers literally are making sure that they are no longer bargaining council into the country, where we can engage with employer. They can show us that indeed there is a problem in terms of the budget. Let us engage, the union engage, look from their side, they look from our side. But literally they are just imposing everything on us as public servants. That is why our members are saying, let us withdraw, let us exercise our right to withdraw labor. That is exactly what you are saying as the South African Policing Union.
Yeah. Currently, because of what's taken place in the week gone by, including the fact that we're told that at least 4 deaths can be linked directly to the strike, at least insofar as the healthcare workers aspect of it is concerned, there are actually calls for the leaders of Nehawu to be charged in one way or the other with murder. It does, I suppose, bring into sharp focus questions around the collective responsibility that union leaders are willing to take if this does go down to the wire. In other words, if we get to a point where a whole lot more of a greater cost has to be paid.
Look, firstly, we are union leaders and we're not employer. We have engaged with employer for many years trying to resolve the issue. That is why we give you a very simple example of where it all started when they started with the issue of the austerity measure. Now employer wants to tell us that we need to take responsibility of what they cost, a self-generated problem. There is no problem in this country with regard to public service. All our members are working on a daily basis. All our members are trying their level best. Members are working under extreme conditions. But we're still trying our level best to make sure that we give the service to the people of this country. But what we have seen is the arrogance, a demonstration of arrogance from employers to say they do not care. Over the weekend, we're saying to you now that we tried to have a facilitation process. We were in the boardroom in Centurion trying to deal with the impasse that is there between union and employer. The employer was very clear that they are not going to take part. They are not interested. They've moved on. They are on 2023-2024 with negotiation. So it is very clear that as much as we want to engage with them, to set with the employer now, look what is happening. We do care about the people of this country, but it's the employer that is moving away from us. They move away from the signed agreement. They are moving away from the bargaining council. They are moving away from negotiations. What else do we have to do except to ask the employer to come on board and say, let us engage so that we deal with the issue? Of course, what is happening on the ground is subjected to investigation at what caused the outcry of public or the service that was not given there. We cannot take responsibility of something that is not even proven to us that, or even to Nehawu, that this is what Nehawu did.
Sure. I think no matter how you see it, really regrettable that it's gotten us to this point. Hopefully we're able to find a resolution rather sooner than later, given what's at stake. Peter and Nsime, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. That's all the time we have this morning. Appreciate your time on the AM report. Peter Nsime is the second Vice President of the South African Policing Union.